They say the sky will bleed before the end begins. And brothers, the bleeding has started. 7 ancient voices spoke across the centuries, warning of a single year when the fabric of reality would tear. That year is 2025. That year is now. From the caves of Nostradamus to the sacred lodges of the Hopi, from the mystic halls of Russia to the temples of the East, they all pointed to the same moment in time. The moment when humanity would face its greatest test. But here's what they don't want you to know. These prophecies weren't isolated visions. They were coordinated warnings from watchers who saw across the veil of time. Each prophet, in their own era, witnessed the same cosmic event, the great convergence of 2025. The stars are falling out of alignment. The earth is shaking beneath our feet. The sun itself is turning against us. And the most terrifying part? This was all foretold with mathematical precision. Stay until the final word, for your soul may depend on it. What I'm about to reveal will change how you see every headline, every disaster, every strange event happening around you. Michel de Nostradamus, the seer of Ceylon, wrote of the year when the great fire shall descend from heaven. But get deeper into Century X, Quatrain 72, and you'll find a terrifying detail. The king of terror shall come from the sky in the 7th month of 1999, except his dating system was off by 26 years. The correction points to 2025. Baba Vanga, the blind prophet of Bulgaria, spoke of the time when the dragon will swallow the sun. Her predictions were 85% accurate, including 9/11 and the rise of ISIS, but her most chilling prophecy was reserved for 2025. The great trial begins when the earth rebels against its children. The Hopi Elders warned of the blue star Kashinas return, marking the beginning of the great purification. But here's the hidden knowledge. They also spoke of 7 sacred signs that would precede this event. 6 have already occurred. The 7th happened in January 2025, but here's what they don't want you to know. These weren't random visions. They were warnings, coordinated across time and space by forces beyond human understanding. Ancient texts speak of the Watchers, who observe the timeline and send warnings to those who can perceive. The puzzle pieces are falling into place for those who dare to see. Every earthquake above magnitude 6.0, every solar flare that knocks out power grids, every nation that turns against its neighbor, it's all connected to the ancient timeline they mapped centuries ago. Subscribe and awaken with us before these truths are buried under the lies of a dying world. Because what I'm about to show you will prove that we're not experiencing random chaos. We're watching prophecy unfold with surgical precision. Let me read you the numbers that should terrify every soul. On Earth, 187 earthquakes above magnitude, 5.0 in the first half of 2025. That's 340% higher than the 50-year average. Wildfires consuming 2.3 million acres across 3 continents, burning in perfect geometric patterns that suggest intelligent design. Floods displacing 847,000 people in regions that hadn't seen water in decades, regions that ancient maps show were once underwater. Solar storms disrupting satellites every 72 hours, following a pattern that NASA refuses to explain publicly. The magnetic field weakening at a rate of 5% per decade, but accelerating to 15% in 2025 alone. Are these random acts of nature, or the blueprint of a divine timeline unfolding exactly as prophesied? Nostradamus wrote, "The earth shall tremble in the new city. 2 great rocks will war for a long time." New York just experienced its strongest earthquake in 140 years. The 2 great rocks, tectonic plates, are shifting beneath Manhattan in ways that violate every geological model. Baba Vanga predicted the rebellion of the earth against its children. She described a planet that would shake off humanity like a dog shakes off fleas. The seismic activity isn't random. It's following ley lines that ancient civilizations considered sacred. But the most chilling prophecy comes from the 16th century. Vietnamese seer Nguyen Bon Kiem. When the dragon breathes fire into the sky, the time of choosing begins. He wrote this 500 years before anyone understood solar, plasma, or coronal mass ejections. The Cherokee prophecy speaks of the time when the stones will speak. In 2025, we're seeing unprecedented piezoelectric activity in quartz formations worldwide, literally. Stones generating electrical signals that some interpret as communication. Do you feel it? The acceleration? The sense that time itself is speeding up? Ancient texts call this the compression of days, when prophetic events that should unfold over decades happen in months. From the east, the warnings came in riddles that are only now being decoded. Nguyen Ben Kiem, the Nostradamus of Vietnam, spoke of the fire from heaven that burns without consuming. He described weapons that could destroy without leaving physical traces. Electromagnetic pulses that fry electronics while leaving buildings intact. The Japanese monk GQ warned of the invisible arrows that pierce the sky. He drew detailed diagrams of what we now recognize as solar wind patterns and magnetic field disruptions. His monastery preserved scrolls showing the exact trajectory of coronal mass ejections that wouldn't be discovered by Western science for another 400 years. Even Rasputin, the mad monk of Russia, foresaw the year when the sun grows angry and the earth drinks blood. His final letter, sealed for a century, was opened in 2024. It contained astronomical calculations that predict the exact dates of 2025's major solar events calculations that prove accurate to within hours. But what? Did they actually see? Let me break this down. The fire from heaven's solar flares capable of destroying our electrical civilization in minutes. The August 1859 Carrington event knocked out telegraph systems worldwide. A similar event today would collapse the power, grid, crash satellites, and send us back to the dark ages overnight. The invisible arrows, electromagnetic pulses that can turn your smartphone into a dead brick, your car into a paperweight, your pacemaker into a death sentence. Military documents classified until 2024 reveal that governments have been preparing for this exact scenario. The sun's anger, a magnetic pole reversal that's already begun. The North Magnetic Pole is racing towards Siberia at 34 miles per year. Birds are losing their migration patterns. Whales are beaching themselves in record numbers. The planet's protective magnetic shield is weakening. Vietnam just experienced its worst flooding in 80 years. Flooding that followed the exact pattern Nguyen Ben Kiem predicted. When the dragon's tears fall from the sky, the land of the rice will drink deeply. Europe faces its most severe drought since records began. Precisely as GQ foretold, the western lands will thirst when the eastern lands drown. What is the fire from the sky? Solar flares? Nuclear war? Or is the sun itself turning against? Use is prophesied. The terrifying truth is that all three may be connected. Ancient texts speak of a time when celestial and terrestrial fires merge into one unstoppable force. The ancient texts speak of a time when the heavens will shake and the earth will reel like a drunkard. Brothers and sisters, we are living in that time. The question is, are you prepared for what comes next? Indian child prodigy Abhigya Anand issued a warning that sent shockwaves through the spiritual community. 2025 will see the collapse of the digital tower. He spoke of a great electromagnetic storm that would bring down satellites, crash stock markets, and plunge nations into chaos. This is no accident. The sun's wrath was prophesied. Solar cycle 25 is proving more violent than any in recorded history. Scientists are tracking coronal mass ejections that could hit Earth with the force of 1 billion nuclear bombs. But it's not just the power, it's the timing. Every major solar event in 2025 has occurred within days of ancient prophetic dates. The invisible weapon is already being deployed. GPS systems failing across the Pacific. Radio blackouts during critical military operations. Internet outages affecting millions, always dismissed as routine maintenance. And beyond the sun's fury, a global empire might fall exactly as the prophets warned. Rasputin wrote in his final letter, the bear will turn its gaze from the eagle to the dragon. For over a century, no one understood. Now we do. Russia the bear is turning away from America, the eagle toward China the dragon. The alliance that will reshape the world was prophesied by a madman who saw across time, but the most mysterious warning comes from the Antarctic research stations. Scientists are reporting magnetic anomalies that shouldn't exist according to known physics. Ancient ice cores revealing civilizations that predate human history. The continent of the blind eye is beginning to speak. The Hopi prophecy speaks of the land of ice awakening when the star of purification appears. Something ancient is stirring beneath the frozen wasteland. Something that was meant to stay buried. The geopolitical map is being redrawn by forces that transcend human politics. Are we witnessing the rise of nations or the awakening of something far older? The Hopi Elders spoke of the blue star Kashina, a celestial herald that would appear when the Great Purification begins. In January 2025, Comet Atlas appeared with a brilliant blue tail, visible to the naked eye across the northern hemisphere. But this is more than astronomy. This is spiritual warfare made manifest. The prophecy speaks of 3 great earthquakes that will shake the earth before the time of choosing. The first came in Turkey 7.8 magnitude, killing over 50,000. The second struck Japan 7.5 magnitude, triggering nuclear fears. The third is coming. Ancient texts from Tibet speak of the year when the veil becomes thin. Shamans across the Americas report unprecedented spiritual activity. Sensitive individuals are experiencing visions, dreams, and encounters that defy explanation. Do you feel a silent pressure on your soul? A knowing that something profound is shifting in the spiritual realm? Share your visions in the comments. You are not alone in this awakening. Hildegard of Bingen saw it in the 12th century. A great division will come upon mankind, and 2 worlds will emerge, one of light and life, the other of shadow and death. Nostradamus called it the separation of the wheat from the chaff. The Dogon people of Mali spoke of the time when humans would choose between the world of form and the world of spirit. The April 2024 solar eclipse created a path of totality across America, a cosmic signature on the land. But 2025 brings the black halo eclipse, where the sun's corona will appear as a ring of darkness over the Pacific. Ancient texts call this the crown of absorption, a celestial event that marks the point of no return. We are witnessing the formation of 2 distinct realities. One where truth is malleable, where artificial intelligence replaces human consciousness, where the soul is traded for convenience. The other where ancient wisdom awakens, where spiritual sight is restored, where humanity remembers its divine origin. They will not need chains. The people will chain themselves with light, the false light of screens, algorithms, and digital deception. The Great Division is not coming. It is here. Every day, every choice, every moment of attention is a vote for which world you will inhabit. Ancient texts speak of a passport of essence, the only currency that will matter when the division is complete. Not your name, not your job, not your social media following. Your essence, your soul's true nature. Who are you truly? Strip away the labels, the roles, the identities imposed by a dying world. What remains? The Tibetan Book of the Dead describes a moment when the soul faces mirrors that reflect not your image, but your true nature. That moment is coming for all humanity. The question is, will you recognize yourself? The prophecies agree on one thing: not everyone will make it through. Not because they're not worthy, but because they will choose the comfort of illusion over the challenge of truth. Hit that like button if you're ready to face the mirror. Subscribe if you refuse to be counted among the sleepwalkers. Comment below with your moment of awakening, because those who remember will awaken. The sky is turning. The ground is shaking. Prophecy is no longer distant. It is now. 7 ancient voices spoke across the centuries, and their words are echoing in the streets of every city, in the hearts of every awakening soul, in the very fabric of reality itself. 2025 is not just another year. It is the year of choosing. The year when humanity faces its final test. The year when the wheat is separated from the chaff. Share this message with everyone you love. Comment with your visions and awakenings. Subscribe to join the remnant who will carry the light through the darkness. The watchers have spoken. The signs are manifest. The time is now. Stay connected, stay awake, stay free.